Hey, everybody. I'd like to welcome you to Opinions. Opinions right here on Meta Facebook Live, YouTube, and Spreaker. Opinions. This is a show where you can be a part of it. All you got to do is take our phone number down and call in. While I'm waiting for everybody to get into the screen, let me tell you what the topics are going to be today. Unbelievable topics. How about Lorie Lightfoot and the $500 income that's going out to 5,000 families? And guess what? Now Tony Prickwinkle is thinking about doing it too. How about that? All of a sudden, the city wants to give the poorest residents some money. How about that? I guess after all that money they made off the red light cameras and all the rest of that old illegal stuff they did, they might as well share the wealth. And that's my opinion. But opinions are like, assholes. Everybody got one. Hey, I was born with one. And my name is Katie Lowe. And I want to welcome you to Opinions, where opinions matter. But I'm going to bring you your host, Opinionated Lorie.
Hey, hey.
How are you?
I'm doing well, Kale. How are you doing?
I'm great.
That's good. Hey, so we have Professor Don Kincaide here. Not on screen, but he is on the phone line. Can you hear us, Donald?
Yeah, I can hear.
Fantastic.
Hey, Professor Don.
Hey, what's up, Caleb? I tried to call you earlier.
Oh, well. I just got, you know what? I just got off a show with Pastor Mo, the professional uppity Negro. And we had a nice show because we talked about blacks in the Bible. Girl, we had a real nice discussion about the Bible. I can't wait to invite him back. I really, really, really can't. But before we get too far off into the show, because we can really go there, I must remind everybody that this show is sponsored by, I got to find it, by my girl and the people at
MarthasHelpingHands.org is more than providing food, clothing, and distributing personal hygiene supplies to the homeless. It is dedicated to inspire, teach, empower the homeless to become homeful with love, compassion, and positivity. Martha's Helping Hands, a 501c3 organization advocating for the homeless by any means necessary. It's a moral obligation, and we as a country and as a people have a moral obligation to help. Make your donation today by calling 312-714-5384 or email turners412@marthashelpinghand.org. Homeless people are human, just like us. They need our help. When we do good, we feel good. We are in a position to help. It is our chance to make a difference. Make your donation today. Turners 412@marthashelpinghands.org.
All right. Sow a seed for humanity at MarthasHelpingHands.org. That's TURNERS, Turners 412@MarthasHelpingHands.org. All right.
Fantastic. We love our sponsors.
Yes, we do.
Well, we'll give you guys a weather here in Chicago. It's 37 degrees, cloudy skies, early, followed by partial clearing, low 37, and we have the winds coming out the west-northwest at 10 to 20 miles per hour. Tomorrow's going to be 53 degrees, mostly sunny. Hey, it's warming up. Spring is in the air.
Girl,
So,
and
hey,
I still got the heat on over here.
you know what? Don't turn it off. Don't turn it off because this is Chicago and it's only April, May. It could even snow. What's the Prince song that it always snows in April, or it might snow in April, or something like that?
I don't know, but I tell you, I shouldn't have my heat on. It's almost May.
It is. Hey, this is what we signed up for. If we want better weather, we got to move down to Atlanta or
Man, I don't know if I got this assignment.
or Arizona. Professor Don, are you there? Can you hear us?
Oh,
Can you hear us? I don't know if he's still on the line. Hello?
still lit up?
Can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay,
Oh,
great. All right, fantastic. So yeah, so let's just kind of just jump into it. The first thing I want to start off, this just happened on the news. It was a high-speed chase. The police said at around 4:40, a Chicago Fire Department ambulance was parked at the 200 block of West Cermak. Police said it was stolen by an unknown offender while it was parked in the street. So anyway, they ended up doing a chase, a high-speed chase, which I thought they weren't supposed to be doing those anymore. About 20 miles outside of Chicago, and they finally caught this joker. Unbelievable.
That high-speed chase. And just, I don't know. I mean, it's not good to take someone's car, but those high-speed chase, the only thing I hate about it, somebody innocent may get killed.
Absolutely.
Over a car, and a car it's not something that's concrete. Life is concrete.
Right.
Car
Even
is
if it's
tangible.
but you know what their concern though? Since it was Chicago Fire Department ambulance, they thought maybe a patient could have been in there. I think that was probably
in the car.
No, it was CFD. It was the Chicago Fire Department. It was their ambulance.
They stole the ambulance.
Yeah.
Yeah, but still.
Yeah, I think what they got going on right now, what I believe is happening is that you have these TikTok types of endeavors that people get into, and also have qualifying things that they have to do now, young people to do to get in different gang organizations or whatever. So I think that's what's going on right now.
Yeah, it's these TikTok challenges, and what were they doing? The Tide pods, the detergent pods. I mean, eating those. I mean, unbelievable. All to get, what do they say, clout on social media.
Well, yeah, it's kind of difficult to just really determine exactly what's causing it. But I think if we looked at that theory, we would probably find more of that happening for that reason.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. And that just kind of, I mean, not to go too deeply into it, but it just makes me wonder, what is it that these youth, usually it's, it's unfortunately younger people, what is it that they're missing in their lives where they have to, is it like a cry for help, for attention, to just do these extreme, take these extreme measures and these attention-seeking kind of stunts, really?
Well, basically, misdirected aggression and what we refer to as juvenile post-traumatic stress syndrome, actually, because when it comes down to young people have to have a way of being recognized or whatever. If they come from abusive relationships and families or whatever, the tendency to lash out and bully and do all of those things come from environments that they grow up in. So
what do you think can be done for that to prevent it? I mean, if the cards are kind of stacked up against you, and let's say maybe you don't have, both parents, or maybe you don't even have a parent. You might have grandparents raising you. I mean, what can be done to improve that?
For the families that don't have parents at home, I think we have to pay more attention in the community and be more of a cohesive community now than we've ever been before, because you can't just be separated and you say it's somebody else's problem when it eventually will wind up on your doorstep.
Right.
For the ones that have parents at home, whether they're single parents or both parents, the parents need to come together and decide what kind of plan that they're going to implement in their homes in order to pay more attention to their children and where they are, and how they're being picked up from school, and everything needs to be, like more. People need to be more aware of where their children are at all times. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, that's true. Maybe just taking more of an interest, but I don't know. I feel like now we live in such a, I don't know if this is extreme, but I just feel like we live in such a narcissistic kind of, society. Everyone always wants to say, oh, I'm going to do me, you do you. There's no real kind of caring for others and doing things selflessly. It just seems that it's, each person for themselves, basically.
Well, you have organizations out there right now going under the name of, like non-for-profit, and they have those kind of objectives in their programs. I don't know how many of them are actually going about trying to get it done, and so we probably need to attention to them and try to get them to step up to the plate and live up to what they claim that they're supposed to be doing as well. And the ones that are actually out there working, we need to support them to the fullest extent.
So where do you feel politicians kind of fit into that that equation?
I think we need to stop accepting what the politicians say and force them to come to the table as well and stop lying. When they're running for office, that's what they're talking about. We're going to help the children. We're going to improve education. We're going to do this. All these things they say they're going to do. We need to start calling their hands. Yeah. And we don't have any reason why we can't call it anymore. Now we have social media, and we know names, and we have a means of knowing, exactly what they're doing versus, what they said they were going to do. Because you got films and tapes and everything else you can play back when they got up and made these promises or whatever. We need to hold them to their promises and make them do what they say they're going to do.
Yeah, and if not, vote them the hell out.
They need to go home.
Yep, exactly. Instead of you have some of these. And I'm not going to pick on any particular aldermen, but these aldermen and congressmen that term after term, that people just blindly vote for them, and then you don't see any results. I mean, the neighborhoods look the same. The people are suffering the same. Maladies that they've been suffering.
When you drive across the streets, I mean, like we're driving right now, and the roads are so terrible. It feels like you're in a truck or wagon or something, and there's no reason for that to be. If you have monies that are being spent and budgets that are being dealt with, and this country here is sending money to other countries, fixing better roads in their countries, and we're riding on over here.
Right. Well, I mean, that's on the federal level. So, I mean, but just even like, locally, there's just seems to...
No, but the federal funds trickle down. They send money to local areas, too. Everybody they don't talk about it, but people write grants and include the things that we're talking about in those grant proposals. And we don't hear about it because they may fix a certain area and then they may not. But
Right.
it's not that they're not getting the funds for it.
Okay. Well, I mean, we just gotta, we have election cycles coming up. We need to really keep keep your eye on the sparrow, and just make sure if they are not doing what they need to do, gotta vote somebody else in. It's just, I mean, really as simple as that. And
I think it's time for the people to start taking the forums to the politicians and not waiting on them to come to us. We need to start calling them out. But okay, you said you're going to do that, and so you've been in office just because we can check the records or whatever, and just call them out.
Mm-hmm.
And they're not going to like it. Either they're affected or they have not. And if they're not affected, then they don't need to be there. They don't need to keep being voted in term after term, and they're doing the same things over and over. That's crazy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, absolutely. It's definitely something definitely needs to be done. So actually, kind of in that same vein, it looks like there was a program that was approved. It's a pilot program. It's a Chicago Guaranteed Income pilot program, and it's going to go to 5,000 families or individuals, I should say, that are going to receive $500 per month in checks. And this is really to help, supplement. There's a recognition that 18% of Chicago residents are living in poverty, and with over 44% on the edge of poverty. So kind of, leaning into that area. And then over 200,000 Chicagoans are living in extreme poverty. So that meaning that their income is less than $6,795 for one person, or $13,875 a year for a family of four. So I don't know. I mean, $500, I'm not sure if that's going to necessarily help someone per month. Especially if how are you going to pay rent if you're only making $67.95 a year?
Well, 500 could add to the income that they already have. I mean, it's $500. Say if they're only getting $2,000 a month.
Mm-hmm.
Now you're getting $2,500 a month for what is it, a year? If you do the right thing, it will help.
Right.
Now,
I guess my thing is this though. I mean, it's one thing to give people money. It's kind of like when they had the stimulus checks. You can give people money, but once it comes to the point where these funds have been depleted, what do people do after that? I mean, like with the stimulus, it ended. And what happened after it ended? You saw our crime rate just skyrocket. That's why we're having a lot of the crime that we're having.
Wait, you back, honey. Wait a minute. Let this old woman tell you something. Now, you just back that thing up, young lady. Girl,
excuse me.
I've been sitting here being I've been sitting here being quiet. I ain't been saying nothing. I've been letting y'all talk. Girl, you better back that thing up. Hey, y'all. That's Opinionated Lorie. Y'all know I'm Katie Lowe. And that's
you're something else.
Girl, let me tell you about that stimulus money. Wait just a minute.
Okay.
What it did for a lot of people I know, that stimulus money, not only the stimulus money, but the extra what is that, unemployment money?
Mm-hmm. The supplemental.
Yes. Let me tell you, that supplemental money made some people know what they will work on their jobs. Now, minimum wage, don't let me get to talking about that federal minimum wage that some old cooters up there in Washington. I mean, I just can't understand them. They make all this money and they don't want the average person to make a living wage. Do you know in 1968, the minimum wage was $1.60 an hour? Girl, here we are over 57 years later. And I think the federal minimum wage still ain't no more than $8 and something.
Yep.
I mean, I think basically what's going on, and I think the working class people who are really the ones who are being overtaxed and carrying the burden, most of the burden.
Yeah.
Based on if it percentage of income that they have. But what's actually happening is the upper 1% that controls the corporations and everything know that once you put money out there in the hands of people, eventually people are getting smart enough to put their money together and start being competitive with the big major corporations. You know, like that's the way the telephone companies got broke up. You know, back when they had just a Bell telephone company, and then AT&T came in the game, and so on and so forth. Now you got Verizon and everybody else. Well, they don't want to put money out there that's going to enable people to acclimate to that level, to a level of competition, and become a threat to the sanctity and you know, that's going on. That's why I don't want any more professional teams or anything like that. They want to keep the numbers where they can control it, and the wealth will be distributed among them. And so that's quite understandable. But then again, when it comes down to the people who are out there who actually need the money, and really, you know, these people would rather those people stand up in line and be handed boxes of food than to give them money to work with.
Right. But see, here's the thing, though.
It's
that's the whole idea of capitalism, right? I mean, it's kind of a double-edged sword, though. I mean, it's like on one hand, there is a free market, and you should let the markets move the way that markets move, and it should be based on, you know, competition and all that. But you run the risk, though, of companies taking over and doing exactly what you're saying, Donald, is you know, to control, you know, whatever it is that they want to control, and then the everyday person is left out. But then again, you don't want the government controlling it, because we look what happens in the
okay. Can I finish what I was saying before y'all run on off with it?
Let me just finish my point. Is that so you have to have some kind of a balance, and I think that we're having an imbalance among capitalism and socialistic ideas.
Now, can I finish?
Yeah.
No, I'm going to finish what I was saying, or I will shut your mouth.
Wait, Donald, let Katie finish what you were saying.
Let me finish what I was saying. You all took my conversation and you ran with it. And you know I'm old, and you know I get upset. This is what old women do.
Well, I'm not that far behind you, Katie. Come on.
Okay, but let me, I just want to finish what I was saying.
Okay.
Now, please don't interrupt this senior citizen.
Okay.
Because I'm going to call senior abuse on this.
No.
You don't want me to call no senior abuse?
No.
Let me finish. Okay. Now, as I was saying before I was interrupted, those people that got that extra money, unemployment money, everybody wasn't on a cruise, and everybody wasn't over in the Bahamas. I want to let you know that some people created their own business. Okay? They became financially stable. Okay? They became entrepreneurs. A lot of them did. There's some great stories behind this. Another thing that came out of that, people found their self-worth. Some of these people were going to these jobs, working 12 and 13 hours a day, because they had to do that in order to pay their rent, because the rent was so high, they had to make 2.5 checks just to pay their rent.
But you have a lot of people that didn't pay rent, though.
Finish. I am a senior citizen, and I do have the floor. Okay? Okay, be quiet. Let me finish now. I'm going to get angry. I'm going to be an angry black woman. You don't want to see no angry black woman on the screen. Some people, like I say, some people became entrepreneurs. Okay? Some people took that money.
People using other people, basically for free. And they became wealthy as a result of that. When is enough?
Y'all will not let me finish
So
my
when
talk.
is it that you have acquired enough wealth to want to go back and build up the people who caused you to be where you are?
Okay, and what do you say? And what do you say to that, Katie?
I'm trying to say to you, and you won't let me get it out. You just keep interrupting me. And I just can't understand why I don't do that to you. Okay, now, some people found their self-worth, and so did the employee found his self-worth, and the employer found he had to give more money. Because a lot of people who were making $11 an hour, their jobs started paying $20. You got jobs that are paying $25 an hour. They weren't playing that game. People were still working for $8, $9, and $10 an hour. Some of these jobs.
Yeah, but
And they gave this when
wages that much anyway.
But here,
What's the
hello. Oops, I think we lost him. I think he'll come back. He'll come back in.
Some of these jobs now they have to pay a decent wage to these
Right,
people.
but here's the and I hear.
Listen, wait.
I hear what you're.
I'm talking for the little man.
No,
The
and
man
I
that's
hear
not
what
a
you're saying.
hire.
I hear what you're saying, but here's the problem though of what happened with. I'm not saying necessarily the wages. I mean, obviously that's a good thing. Wait, I think this is hello? I think we lost him again. So what happened? Them actually giving. Let's try it again. Yeah.
Okay. Hello.
Opinions. Donald.
Hello.
Hello.
Yes, I'm here.
Oh, okay. I think we lost you. So no, what I was saying is that I think that so Katie mentioned about the the increases in salary, which is good, but I think one of the unintended consequences of what happened is they put too much money into the money supply. So giving when they were giving the supplemental for unemployment, they were giving stimulus. Hold on, they were giving stimulus. That overstimulated. So then what happened was inflation started happening. So now we're at was it 12% inflation? So even if they are paying people more, the net effect is that they're not even really getting paid more money because everything is more expensive. So it really
everything was already expensive.
Yeah, but it's even more. It's 12% more expensive than it was before.
But that's true. But at least they have a few more dollars in their pocket.
And try to do the businesses raise the prices.
Well,
when they give out the supplemental money for the utility prices go up. And
right.
They don't go back down.
Right. Exactly. That's inflation. So if they're putting more money in this money supply, it's just going to make everything go. So the wages rise, but things get to be more expensive. The net effect is we're back to where we started from, especially if wages have not increased more than what inflation has.
What if the wages didn't rise and inflation increased? And everything went up.
Wait, both of you guys are talking at the same time. I can't hear you.
There's got to be some caps placed on the price gouging that goes on too.
Right.
There's no reason why gasoline ought to be $5 or $6 a gallon.
Right. Yeah.
Because the government can say, look, if you're gonna sell gas in America, you can't charge any more than this because we're in this state of the economy now and trying to stimulate growth.
Right.
But they won't do that to the merchants.
Yeah.
The people are the ones that wind up getting the eyeballs gouged out.
Yeah. And especially because corporations are really at all-time high in terms of their profit, so they haven't lost anything.
No, the corporation got the biggest portion of the stimulus money.
Yep.
If they put $3 trillion in the economy, and then they took maybe $1 trillion of it partially get out to people, you still got $2 trillion that went somewhere.
Right.
And so when it goes to those corporations, when the corporations came up with they got millions and billions of dollars of loans that were forgiven. Basically grants to the companies, whatever, because that's what the PPP thing was based on, trying to make sure your payrolls were protected. What about the corporations that have, say, 15,000 employees in one area?
Right.
How many dollars do you think they got?
Yep. So my suggestion is that instead of them actually giving out stimulus, there should have been some sort of policy to ensure that these companies were paying people, what they're worth and making sure that they're giving, being paid a living wage, because them actually giving out the money does not.
How can you give out a policy to make sure that they're paying them a decent wage when you're running the government?
It's called minimum wage.
Wait a minute. Wait, I'm just saying. How can the government tell somebody else what to pay somebody when in the last 50 some years, the minimum wage has only increased by maybe $6?
Right, but that's what I'm suggesting.
But the minimum wage is set by the federal government.
I understand that, and that's what I'm suggesting is that they raise the minimum wage, and they raise it by sector as well, not just necessarily minimum, but by sector.
Well, listen, ain't no shame in that game. The Republican
you guys are
Party
both
is
talking
not
at the
going
same
to let
time.
that
Hold on.
happen.
What'd you say, Katie?
The Republican Party is not going to let that happen.
Okay, well, I mean, these are the kind of things that we need to back. We need to back our candidates, and I mean,
talk to me.
It's kind of like what was the Asian guy that ran for office?
I can't think of his name, but I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, he actually.
That's what we're talking about. Yeah.
He actually suggests. Hold on a second. What's going? My phone is ringing. He was actually suggesting a standard minimum wage, which would have been a livable wage. This is what I'm talking about. So, what was it? Universal basic income. That's what I forget the guy's name, but anyway, that's really what we're talking about. Just so that people can sustain themselves, and that companies would pay into this, and not just the government, giving money, because when they print more money, that's when inflation happens. That happened in the 70s. We experienced a lot of really high inflation. So you can't I think that's when we went off the gold standard, and they started, just printing money and circulating money. And that's never the answer. A lot of countries have ran into issues with that, just printing money and then having their currency collapse.
Well, I always have a different opinion because of an antagonist. I'm glad the government spent that money on its own people right here in the United States of America, because we give a lot out to foreign aid. So, I hate for it to have to be a pandemic for them to do it, but this is one time I can say America truly stood up for its people, even though they had controversy in Congress and in the Senate.
So what do you all think? We have our phone lines open, 224-484-0962. Give us a call and let us know what we've given our opinions on it. What do you think about it? Do you think we're full of it, or is there another solution to this issue? Is Lorie Lightfoot, is she right giving up the 500? Is it enough? I mean, it's only for 5,000 people, and our city is city of Chicago. What is it, 2 million people? Is that really going to have an impact? Yeah, I mean that's what I want to know. I mean, 5,000 people. That's in a very big city, and especially if they're saying that 14% of the people are in poverty, and you have 44% of people that are on the verge of poverty. That doesn't really sound very helpful. Not to what do they say? Look a gift horse in the mouth, but it sounds like a good start, but I just think that there's got to be more, policy related things that we can do that would help with these companies. First of all, making them pay their fair share of taxes. A lot of these companies, federal wise, they don't even pay any taxes. You look at the people like Donald Trump. What did he pay? $750,000, or sorry, I'm sorry, $750 in taxes in 2016. I mean, that's just unbelievable.
And before that, I think he paid none.
Right. Exactly.
And he say he's one of those. He's the wealthiest man in the world.
I said a few minutes ago, and I go back to that. And I'm not in the least ways a socialist, and definitely not Marxist. But there was a guy named Karl Marx that wrote about what we're talking about right now, and it was called the Marxist theory of dialectical materialism.
Yeah,
and that's what we're suffering from right now. And if you look at the scenario, we're sitting here really making good points because all of us have a point to be made, and everybody's being affected in a different way by it. But when you put money in the environment, what do you put it out there to do? To help people, or to grow businesses that are already up and going? Or do you put it out there to create more businesses? And so those are the legitimate questions that got to be answered. And when the policies that you're talking about that are formulated before the money is dispersed in the first place. Now, not giving it to people, it's still going to have people in poverty, and it's going to increase the crime rate because people who don't have are going to try to take stuff that doesn't belong to them, and create some kind of wealth that way. So when it comes down to putting the cap on anything, the businesses, the corporations need to be dealt with in a way that said, okay, when you all were in trouble, the government came to your aid and bailed you out. You remember the bailout when President Obama came to office?
Right.
Those were big corporations that
right.
were bailed out. They were no small people. They were big, major corporations that had a significant impact over thousands and thousands of jobs.
Right. But here's my argument though with this though is that it's not really just a money problem. It's a resource problem because once again, like when you're just giving out money, you're printing money and you're not backing that with resources. There's nothing because in a capitalistic, economy, you're basically exchanging resources and goods for money so that your, resources are going to equal whatever your, the payment is for that. But if you have a low productivity and you're just giving out money and there's nothing behind it, there's no production behind that, that's how you end up with inflation. So just, giving out money is not going to really have the desired effect. It's going to end up being, you're going to be having inflation like we're having right now.
Okay, to look at the question at hand concerning Lorie Lightfoot and other people who are out there giving out money, they appear to be giving out money.
Mm.
I think they should really read the fine print. I don't think it's Lorie Lightfoot. I don't even believe that it's the city council. I believe it's an organization. I believe it's a philanthropist that might be giving out this money.
Well, I mean, maybe I should
have used she did say that the city council actually did vote on it. And it is coming out of the city's budget.
Actually, the city of Chicago.
Yeah, it is. It's coming out of the city's budget.
Okay, maybe I should have used Lorie Lightfoot's name in it then. Okay.
No, you could. That's accurate.
No. Hold up. Okay, so I withdraw the name. We're talking about the timing of the whole situation and what's going on in terms of the amount of money that's out there in the first place that needs to be spent because it's already been allocated and been sitting somewhere and hadn't been dispersed or given to people in the first place. Who's to know? Who's to know whether Williams got a hold to $5 million worth of rent money from the the government or whatever, and he's got to give it away before the fiscal year ends. Nobody asked him that. And you know, if they want to talk about he's giving it away because he's running for office. They say, well, the mayor is giving out these things because there's a political thing behind it. No, you know, maybe not. Maybe there's a deadline somewhere when it comes down to the end of the fiscal year, because if you don't spend money that you're granted, you don't get granted that kind of money anymore in that particular
right. But I don't think that even matters, though. The fact, because he could.
Okay, this is what I want. This is, wait a minute.
His business, right?
This is what I want each one of you all to do. I want you to go in and pull up that application that they have to fill out to get that money, and you tell me if there's not something underlying. I've seen it, and I know what's on it. You don't.
Well, I've seen it. You have to be basically poverty stricken to be able to apply for it.
Just put some numbers in there and go in there and fill it out, and just delete it. You don't have to submit it. Delete it.
Yeah, me too. Yeah.
I just want you to see what's in the application.
Right, but you have to. I see what's in the application. You have to be on the poverty level to be able to receive the funds.
That is not what I asked you to do.
Okay, but that's the whole point, though, is that's what the program is for.
But no, the program is for more. Your point? The program is for more than that. You know that.
And what is it for then?
The program is doing a study. If you need to go into that application.
Well, no. Well, you tell us. Let's inform our listeners. What does it have?
Don't worry about it. I'm through with it.
No, tell us. Tell us and the listeners. I want to inform everyone.
We talked about it. That's why I said I want each one of you all to go into the application.
Right, we understand that, but tell us what is in it. What did you see in there? What is it for? What's your interpretation of it?
It looks like they're doing a financial study with the University of Illinois.
Okay, so you're saying that they have ulterior motives aside from giving out this $500 per month.
That's why I want your opinion. That's just mine.
Okay.
Yeah, I would agree with that, Katie, because there are what's called target groups or whatever studies that amounts of money are placed out to see what the impact is going to be. I wouldn't discount that.
Yeah, and I mean, and if they are, I mean, I don't think there's anything nefarious about that. I just think that funding is really not going to be very helpful. I don't think it's going to have a large impact.
Yeah, but what I really think is happening though is you vilifying individuals, even if it is a study. Yeah, why are you going to blame somebody for implementing a study when the funds are there for that purpose?
Yep.
What do you mean? How is it vilifying someone?
If they have funds for that purpose,
that's what they're doing to the people. They're trying to make Williams be a villain because he's giving away money. They want to know what is he giving it away for? Is he going to reformate? And of course, I'm not going to call Mr. Lightfoot's name anymore because it seems like it's a sticky point. But
it's not a sticky point for me.
No, it just seems to me that we are trying to sit down and we're trying to put people in the place of large corporations that are causing the problem in the first place. If you want to blame somebody, blame the big corporate owners in America that control the economy. They're the ones determine how much money goes into the economy and when it's going to be dispersed and what the prime rate is and whether the interest rate is actually raised or lowered or whatever. They're the ones who determine the value of everything.
Yeah, but you know what? I don't even blame them though, because people. It's kind of like my mother used to always say: people will only do to you what you allow them to do. And when I say that we allow them to do that,
girl, back that thing up.
No.
As voters, and you said it, Don. You said we need to call these people to task. So if they're not really pushing the agenda that the everyday person wants, then we should not be voting for them to serve in the office.
We're putting the individual candidates in the middle of a dilemma. I didn't say it was the individuals who are holding office. It's the major corporations that these individuals don't even have any control over.
Right, but through legislation we can have control over that.
So when Donald Trump got ready to go into the top position in America, he started bragging to people that that he couldn't lose. He said, "I could shoot somebody," and everything he said, some people up there have backed him and let him get away with all the things he talked about because it wasn't him in the first place. It was the other people who want to protect whatever investments and wealth and everything that they want to hold on to, not just Trump.
Right. Okay, I hear what you're saying, but there's the other side of the story is this. Yes, he was able to do that, but there was a very big backlash against him. So, that's why he didn't even win this, the second election, because people were fed up. Backlash
against it didn't necessarily do what the government was supposed to do, because if he had been someone else, and I won't name it, if he had been anybody else, he would have been in jail. Right.
Well, I mean, that's a whole other story that has its merit.
The reason Trump didn't win the election was COVID-19 and the way he handled the situation.
Well, it was that, and he was just
that was the reason he did not win. Let's just be honest. You can name all of the other things that come behind it, but you can put the stamp on that.
But that's a representation of that he doesn't. I mean, there's a lot of things that led up to that too that he failed at.
But that was the final straw. Just like here in Chicago, when they didn't remove the snow that winter.
Wait, you both are talking at the same time.
Okay,
that was the main reason.
What were you saying, Donald?
I'm saying what Katie is saying. We're all saying the same thing, basically. But what Katie is trying to say is that people stepping up to the plate wasn't the reason that Donald Trump lost the election. They weren't speaking out, trying to get him out of office. Because if the COVID thing hadn't happened, he would have gone back into office.
Well, I mean, it's hard to say what would happen, but I believe that it was that election was a referendum on who he was as a person, or who he still is as a person.
It was such a referendum on who he is as a person. Then those same people who stood up and forced him out of office, if we're going to go with that theory, then those people ought to be getting together right now, saying that he can't run for office. The other woman who was up there when the rebellion was going on, who's trying to go back in office in Congress, she doesn't need to be allowed to run, because the 14th Amendment definitely says that she has no right to run if she was involved in any kind of insurrection.
Right, and they're working on that. It looks like they're going to vote so that she won't be able to. You're talking about Marjorie Taylor Greene?
That's right. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
And I tell you, I'm not a betting man either, but I keep a couple of dollars in my pocket. I would bet you that she's going to go back into office.
You bet that she will or will not?
I bet you she will.
You bet you she will. Okay, well. Well, we will see.
That will be something to see. But I wanted to say this. I gotta say this, sir. Let me tell you, we are. I'm representing a non-for-profit that's called Martha's Helping Hands, and they advocate for the homeless. And they have made me understand that we are all one incident away from being homeless. Just
absolutely.
One incident. I don't care how much money you got. Okay. You are one incident away. You can have one incident that can land you with zero, with absolutely nothing. Okay? So let me tell you, if there is somebody that is less fortunate than me, and I am what you call poor, so they must be po, P-O. Okay?
They can't afford the O and the R.
and the government has something, or the city or the state has something that they want to give them to help them out, I wouldn't care if they didn't give it to them for 6 months. I wouldn't care if they didn't give it to them for 3 months. But because they want to give it to them. Okay? Because it's always that person, when we're not affected by something, we turn our head. When something doesn't bother us, it don't matter. It don't matter to us till it hit home.
All right. In spirit, I agree with that. But I guess I kind of I'm looking at the over time and how things are. I feel like it's better to fix the overall systemic problem instead of, just throwing a little, kind of little small fix.
I want you to know that I'm 71 years old and they've been trying to fix it for a long time. Well, you keep living. And you might be telling one of your kids that one day.
We're talking about doing is taking people who have gone from a zero-based income, and it's not just black people, because the Hispanic people who have come over here have been subjected to the same thing. When the people who came from the Asian people who came here, subject to the same thing. And so, and of course, don't even bring up the Native Americans who were here before everybody else got here, and they wind up being beat down worse than anybody. So, no, fixing the systemic problems, and I hear you say that word, I wish we could do that. But first of all, we got to fix the systemic biases inside the people who are greedy enough to value money over life.
Right. Well, I mean, that's part of the system, though, right? That's what needs to be fixed. I don't.
Don't say that's part of the system, though, because if women are getting raped, and you say, well, that's because people are out of work, and you say that's part of the system, though, you gonna tell me that's gonna make them feel better?
Wait, what? Can you repeat that?
No, I'm saying if a large number of women in a certain part of town getting raped, and somebody says in the meeting that's because the guys in that part of town ain't got no job. You're going to say, oh, yeah, that's part of the system?
No, I'm going to say, let me just clarify. I'm not saying it's part of the system like, oh, we have to accept it. I'm saying that we need to change the system because the system is effed up. That's what I'm saying.
I think we all agree on that.
Yeah. So we've got to change the system because when we talk about systemic racism and systemic, poverty, anything that's systemic, you have to get to the root of it because otherwise, I mean, what do they say is like putting a Band-Aid on a gunshot wound, unless you really dig down deep and fix it, it's not going to change. I mean, that's why we're having the problems that we're having now, with crime and just everything that we always talk about.
Well, right? I mean, it gets a lot deeper than that because a lot of people, the majority of people who really benefited from the stimulus money, not the poor folks, they're the people who were enterprising enough to go out there and fill out an application and charge people $3,000 for doing it.
Right. And the people that actually received that stimulus money and did something, as Katie had mentioned and alluded to, opened up their own businesses as well. So they were the ones that were smart enough to kind of catch on to, oh, okay, I can do this. I can open up a business. They didn't make that readily available. These were things that people had to be enterprising enough to figure out on their own. So, and kudos to them.
The government was hiccuping over the fact that people have been deprived. People of color in this country have been deprived of the necessary considerations when it came down to SBA funding. The SBA has had monies to start small businesses for years, and very, very few people of color have benefited from that.
Mm-hmm. Yep, until a PPP came about.
Well, PPP came about, but then again, you still have people out there double dipping in that.
Oh.
So a lot of folks who were supposed to get money and try to start the businesses up were not properly groomed in terms of going out getting things done.
Right.
In the next 6 months to 2 years, whatever, a lot of those people gonna wind up getting chased down by the government and have to pay the money back.
Yeah, that's true.
So y'all gonna talk about this Predwinkle?
So Preckwick, well, she's talking about having. Well, I mean, she's basically jumping on the. I'm gonna call it jumping on the Willie Wilson bandwagon because let's face it, he's the one that started. I mean, he started years ago giving. I remember he used to give out turkeys and stuff and money, cash money. People would line up and he'd give out a stack of cash. So
And he'd go get and he would bail those guys out of jail. I mean, not only guys, anybody in jail who could not make their bail and they had a reasonable bail.
Yep. So this is nothing new. So I think that they just realized that Lightfoot and Preckwinkle, oh, there's something to this. So now she's actually starting a pilot, or they have not voted yet, the Cook County Board, but it looks like they're going to follow in her footstep with, I think, with the gas giveaway, and then also giving away, money.
But Preckwinkle during COVID gave some of the suburban zip codes. Nothing. She didn't do it for the city because that's county.
Yeah.
But some of the suburban zip codes, I forgot how much it was, but they got like a little stimulus. Go ahead.
Yeah, the Cook County.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
You
kind of screwed us on that old sugar tax, though.
Y'all remember the song "Too Much, Too Little, Too Late"?
Oh yeah.
Okay. So that's my response to all of these things that people are talking about giving out right now. Too much, too little, too late.
Wait, excuse me, honey. Excuse me, honey. If you got some money that you're giving out, Rhythm Flow Radio, Opinions, live streams, podcast, your money is not too little and it's not too late.
Yep.
Okay.
We need to get a Cash App handle because
you get
if anyone would like to donate to it,
you get a
feel
Cash
free.
App handle. But listen, wait a minute, John, let me finish now. It is never, honey, as my girlfriend Trina Davis would say, it ain't never too late to give us some money.
It ain't never too late.
Never too late, and I'm telling you, we'll take anything from a penny up to 999 million. I should have said billion. Trillion.
What'd you say, Donald?
I'm saying based on the numbers, and I don't know whether you all understand what numbers mean to me. That's a way of
they
life
mean everything to you, I know.
So, the numbers speak volumes when it comes down to if you really want to know about what's going on. And so if you look at the numbers, it don't make sense. That's why I said too much, too little, too late. But, sometimes people, if you give them $5, that's a lot. So that's cool with it.
I just don't think, I think it's not going to have an impact. That's what I think. I just feel like
that's what I'm saying too. It's going to have more of a negative impact.
Oh, I think we lost him.
Uh-oh. Well, we got, so you just say Predwinkle is she's a copycat?
Yeah, she's just another bandwagon person, basically.
Oh, I'm so bad. I shouldn't be saying that.
Yeah. Well, I think it's true. She's just hopping on the bandwagon. Yet another one.
But if they got some money that they could give away, go on and give it back to the people in the city. You done pimped them on the red light cameras. You done pimped them on the parking meters. You know what I'm saying? And
right, but the problem is that it's kind of nickeling and diming. This is Mr. Kincaide.
I know, but listen, you done pimp these people. Listen, you done pimp these people that live in the city of Chicago. Even went into the neighborhoods and put parking meters where people can't park. Give them some of their money back.
Can you hear us, Donald?
Yeah, I got cut off for a few minutes. I think we have people who are actually listening in and maybe not calling in, but I believe you're going to have quite a few people who agree with the positions that we're taking tonight. and that is that some of these things must be addressed in order to deal with the poverty level, with the crime rate, and all of the things that go hand in hand. When funds are not equally distributed to people, and folks are not satisfied with their efforts and the work. A lot of people work 2 or 3 jobs,
right,
and they can't get out of them. Their lights get cut off and all kind of stuff.
Yeah, especially now in the gig economy, you have a lot of people that are working, doing Uber and there's all these other kind of gig type of jobs, and they don't have any insurance and other benefits like no 401k or whatever. So,
of course they don't have any substantive way, and that's done on purpose.
Yeah,
that's done on purpose. When you can keep people at a disadvantage and they need to work, and then you can pay them what you want to pay them almost.
Yeah. Or you're putting them on it. That's why this whole 1099 thing is kind of, I mean, unless you're a contractor and you're really naming, your hourly rate that you want to make. Otherwise it's, I mean, like driving Uber, and I mean, you have to basically kill yourself and put yourself at risk, and sometimes literally killing yourself to be able to make a fair wage.
Well, I mean, what we have done with the 1099, and they're going to probably cut this off too, but 1099s translate into what's called Schedule C when you get ready to report on income taxes. And so the Schedule C is what we have used in terms of sole proprietorships to replace the 2106 that President Trump took out. And you can claim a lot of different things on the Schedule C sole proprietorship form if you get the 1099 and put that income on it and write it off as a business. And so the same things that he took off that you couldn't claim, you can claim them on the Schedule C, whether people know that or not. So they're all categorized down there. You go down and get taxes, everything, insurance, all that's on there. So maybe he might have shot himself in the foot on that. And of course, if people knew what we're talking about, maybe it would help them. But a lot of people don't ask questions. They rush and they just jump up and try to see if they're going to get a few dollars back, and they're going to try to find out what the best thing is. And they would rather go to the wrong people, can package programs or whatever, TurboTax, with all of that, and be satisfied that they did it and got a small refund back than to actually do what they need to do to get the amount of refund that they actually do back. So, I don't know. Those things can happen. I hope that we will, in fact, inspire some people to do some investigatory work and check out the things that they need to find out about themselves and their businesses, so that we can further the interests of our people with the resources that we have. We have enough money floating around in our community right now to survive if we put it to good use.
Absolutely. Well, I think we have gone a little bit over. It's 8:04, so I just want to thank both of my co-hosts, and we will see you next week.
Yep. I just want to remind everybody, this is opinions. And opinions are like, what? Oh, they scared to say it. I'm not. Opinions are like assholes. Everybody got one. Listen, we will see you next Monday at 7 p.m. right here on Facebook Live. YouTube and Twitter, and I want to say good night.
We'll see you next week, folks.
Okay. And the show was brought to you by, and after this commercial, we are gone.
Martha's Helping Hand.
MarthasHelpingHands.org It's more than providing food, clothing, and distributing personal hygiene supplies to the homeless. It is dedicated to inspire, teach, empower the homeless to become homeful with love, compassion, and positivity. Martha's Helping Hands, a 501c3 organization advocating for the homeless by any means necessary. You know, it's a moral obligation, and we as a country and as a people have a moral obligation to help. Make your donation today by calling 312-714-5384 or email turners412@marthashelpinghand.org. Homeless people are human, just like us. They need our help. When we do good, we feel good. We are in a position to help. It is our chance to make a difference. Make your donation today. Turners412@marthashelpinghands.org.